So this is another episode of Genesis or Genesisn't. I am Eric Stephen Allen, and with me is my good friend Joe Drilling.
What's going on?
Not much, Joe. How you doing?
Doing all right, actually. We broke the record high temperature here in Washington D.C. today, so it was nice and warm, and
Fantastic.
it's gonna sleet.
Let's
tomorrow,
melt all that
so,
ice and put Washington and New York and all those big cities underwater as quickly as possible.
Well, if we're not eradicated in a nuclear war first.
Okay. So this week, speaking of eradicated in a nuclear war, I'm playing Forgotten Worlds, which appears to be some sort of dystopian future shooter thing. I jumped right in too. I didn't. I guess I could explore the options a little bit. But Joe, what the fuck is this game, man?
So this is a Capcom arcade shooter from, I'm gonna say, 1988, but I should double check myself. Should chizzy check myself
before you double wreck yourself.
Yeah. It was released very close to the Genesis launch.
I found a store. What should I buy at the store?
You should buy armor if you can afford it.
I can buy armor. I can buy missiles. I can't buy missiles. I can
missiles.
buy shoot in all direction.
That's
Really?
88 was the
year of its release.
arcade.
All right, so you're saying armor?
I would start with armor.
Okay.
That'll help you.
Flying stone, transport speed varies. Potion of resurrection sounds pretty good. I don't have enough for that, but I'll fill up my health
that's
too.
An extra life, basically. Right?
Okay. What's the extra life continue situation in this game?
I believe you have infinite continues, if memory serves.
Okay.
So
Now I look like a dope police guy.
So, yeah, this is a game that was a Capcom arcade, and in the arcade it had a rotary dial that you used to turn your dude.
Yeah, this seems like a game that should be a dual stick shooter. Even something like a Smash TV control setup would work better. So basically, in the Genesis version here, I'm controlling my guy with the D-pad, and then the A button rotates him counterclockwise, the B button rotates him clockwise, and that's how you aim.
Oh, is that what it is? I thought it was A and C, and then
A and C, sorry,
fire.
B shoots, because you hold the middle button down to shoot.
Right. And if you rotate while you're shooting, your little pod will stay in the same position relative to your guy. If you rotate when you're not shooting, your pod moves with you.
Oh, okay.
Instead of, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because it seems like the pod is kind of a little shield that like blocks damage from the front, maybe.
Yeah. So the pod will tilt if you move while firing.
Okay.
And it'll. This is the weirdest boss because it looks like it's in the background, but it's not.
What is it, like some kind of a weird fungus?
Yeah, I'm not really sure, and I don't really remember. Like,
I'm totally blocking the dude's fireballs.
But like the story is like incoherent mess.
Yeah, I skipped over. There was a cutscene at the beginning of this, but I accidentally skipped over it. After I die, I will reset and check out the options and do some other. So this was a late '80s Capcom arcade game.
Yeah, and then of course, as was the case with Sega, because there was the weird thing where. So also you can move so your pod is like past the little rotatey guys.
Oh, so it's hitting them in the face. Yeah. It seems like I'd be too close. I would
but you're
be afraid.
I mean, you're risking.
Yeah,
there's a risk involved.
I'd be very close to the fire when it comes out of his fungusy maw. All right, let's check out the options real quick here. So is this two-player co-op, like simultaneous co-op?
One of you plays as the blue dude with the Dolph Lundgren hair, and the other one plays as the black dude with the
There's
mohawk.
An auto
black dudes
player.
with mohawks were big in the 80s.
In the 80s? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 80s video games had a lot of black dudes with mohawks.
So we got an auto fire option. Can do a little sound test.
I'd probably go with the auto fire on, honestly.
Okay. Satellite speed, so must be this changes the like how quickly it spins?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Game difficulty, normal, hard. I'll just leave it on normal for now. Let's try it with the auto fire though.
A couple of interesting facts about this game. So first of all, it's one of those situations where
Okay, so
as,
some dragons attack a city, and some kind of like
Yeah.
Hindu god appears above them. We'll say.
Yeah,
Don't worry, we'll finish him today. Okay.
Yeah, like it's one of those Japanese games where you're killing God, basically. So, because
I mean, fuck God, he totally fucked us over. So
Shintoism doesn't have like a concept of God, relatively speaking, the same way that like Christianity or Islam or Judaism do. So that's why the Japanese love to have like God killing things going on in their games, because they don't have that, like, culturally that concept doesn't apply in the same way. So this game was ported by Sega because in the late 80s, Nintendo had this really stupid set of rules that were later, found in the United States, at least, by a court to be sort of unfair trade practices. After a Justice Department probe was launched to determine that. But so Capcom could not make games for the Genesis, but they could license them.
God damn it.
They could license their properties to Sega, and Sega could make their own version. So that's why some of the very earliest Genesis titles are this, and Ghouls and Ghosts, and Strider, which I think is probably the best known among them. But this was also ported to the PC Engine CD in Japan, and like a whole shitload of those weird British microcomputers that I don't know anything about.
Yeah, I saw there's a bunch of reviews for this on Wikipedia, and they are all like Sinclair Magazine and stuff for the ZX Spectrum.
Right.
So must be this was a very popular title, and that mostly like 85s and 90s. I want to say the review scores were all in that range. So
yeah. So this is the port that I know the best. I also do have the PC Engine version. Weird controller things with this game too. So in this version, if you plug a 6-button controller into your Genesis, if you don't hold the mode button down when the system boots up, it'll just cut right to the game over screen and like crash the game for whatever reason every time.
Okay.
So you have to be holding the mode button on your 6-button controller when the Genesis turns on. Otherwise, and then similarly, there is a thing where in the PC Engine version, it came boxed with a 3-button controller, a special 3-button controller, because the standard controller was 2 buttons. There's also a few 6-button controllers for the PC Engine.
It'd be pretty tough to play this game with only 2 buttons.
It would be. It's doable, but it would be difficult.
It's hard enough for me to get used to playing it. It really should be a dual stick kind of a thing, or like you said, a rotary dial, like the
the arcade version had it.
That would be the
It didn't have a rotary joystick. It had a separate dial, like Ikari Warriors and Guerrilla War had like a rotary joystick.
Mm-hmm.
This one had a dial so it had a joystick.
A joystick to control your dude,
dial,
and a dial for
dial that spun him, and I think you just pressed the dial in. The dial was a button too, if memory serves.
Okay.
You would press the button, the dial in, and it would fire. But the PC Engine version requires that through. Well, it doesn't require it. You can play it with a 2-button controller, but here's the interesting thing: the 6-button controller doesn't work with it.
All right, weapon firepower, napalm missiles. Napalm's real good.
Napalm's good. Yeah.
Okay. Love the smell of it in the morning. I'm gonna buy the firepower
like
increase too, because I got a shitload of money.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
And max health up sounds pretty good.
Yep, definitely. I have a 6-button controller for my PC Engine because I also have Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, which you can't play really without a 6-button controller. But the 6-button controller doesn't work for Forgotten Worlds. You have to have that specific 3-button controller, which I think only works like 1 or maybe 2 other games. So it's really
the napalm replaced my fire in all directions thing though.
Most of those power-ups will replace your little.
I kind of like maybe this seems like maybe the more advanced thing that you might want, because I liked the I liked the fire in all directions because it meant that I didn't have to worry about guys behind me so much.
Right. Hambone179 says, "Are you in space or do you have the ability to fly?" These two dudes can just fly. It's never really explained. They don't actually have jetpacks. They just can fly because reasons.
They have,
Because video
they
games.
have those fucking dope ass sunglasses.
Yeah, well,
But this guy's got sunglasses. The other guy has a mohawk, but you know,
well, they
magic
both have dope ass
sunglasses.
sunglasses. Yeah, they both have dope ass sunglasses.
Oh, do they?
Just
Okay.
one of them has like a flat top and one of them has a mohawk. And then he asked, "Are you fighting God's anus?" Which was that first boss encounter.
Sure, why
and
not?
it does kind of look like a butthole a little bit. So.
I keep getting snipped by this worm.
Yeah, that thing's a bastard. So yeah, I don't know. A lot of people compare this game to Scat on the NES, but you couldn't rotate in that game. You know, you were facing one way or the other. But interestingly, it is also kind of considered a follow-up to Section Z, which is a similar
Section Z is
thing.
pretty dope.
Right, except in Section Z, you also can't rotate. You just face one way or the other. And what's the other one? There's another.
Where?
God,
you know I'm supposed to be
have-
shooting this dragon? Am I supposed to be hitting
The
his face or
The face. Shoot
Okay.
the face.
shoot the
There-
face? Hey, I beat it. Look at that. Not even the dust dragon can defeat us.
That's
He
right.
too had a weak point.
The Dust Dragon has a super weird cameo in Card Fighters Clash for the Neo Geo Pocket.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is actually a super dope game, by the way. If like that kind of thing, like that kind of like Pokemon card battling style game trips your trigger.
Hey man,
I
Pokemon
saw
aren't cards. Pokemon are real life, okay?
Well,
Pokemon are animals.
Well, remember, there's also the Pokemon card game,
Yeah.
which was then turned into a video game of the card game. But it's a similar sort of vibe. The one that for DS kind of sucks, but the two for Neo Geo Pocket are actually like super fun. But there's another game, Section Z, and then there's one in between that and this that also came out for the PC. And Sidearms. That's the other Capcom, where you play as a little dude floating around and shooting stuff. But in that one, again, you only face left or right. You can't.
Burner or laser? I'm gonna.
That's what. See, Burner is the one that that's.
Is that what
I
you thought the napalm was? Okay.
Yeah, it's like a Contra 3 style.
Also,
flamethrower,
I'm not.
Commander.
The price as listed is not what they're charging me for this stuff. Because I had 22,000 and this says 20,000 and now I have 5,200
And then you have
left.
5,200. Yeah,
so
that's
it's
weird.
clearly 2,000 less than what the listed price is.
You must have got a discount.
Maybe. I got the nice face discount. She likes dudes with sunglasses.
That's right. And Dolph Lundgren hairstyles.
Yeah.
This I can't hear the game audio because I don't want it to echo or anything. But I love the shop theme in this game. That dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun. And that song gets reused by other Capcom games too. And I think don't hold me to this, but I think that this was the first Capcom game to use Zenny as the currency, which has like since just become the default Capcom
Yeah.
War Universe currency.
Breath of Fire's your.
I think even like Dead Rising might use like Zenny as a currency as well. Like,
Maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
And,
Yeah,
like
I'm trying to
I know
remember, yeah.
Capcom versus Tatsunoko, like for the unlock stuff, use that. Morbid Coffee says, "Hi, it's me. I heard Pokemon TCG, the video game, and I am here to inform everyone that game is, quote, the shit.
Okay.
And I should probably stream." That was all in caps, by the way. I didn't want to yell into the microphone, but Coffee typed that all in caps. And he says, "And I should probably stream it in the future." You should.
Yeah,
You should stream it in
absolutely.
the future.
I would check that out. I would sit in for that for a little while.
Yeah. Hambone says maybe it's foreign exchange. Oh, maybe it's foreign exchange, explaining why you're paying
Okay,
less
yeah.
money.
She charges
You
Zenny, but I have
brought American
USDs.
Zenny,
Yeah.
right. He brought American Zenny, and she charges him like Mexican Zenny or something. And then he says Ishihara was a badass motherfucker, and I'm not really sure what that's in reference to, but maybe that was a Breath of Fire related comment. I don't know. I've never played Breath of Fire. I'm sure that once he hears me say this, he'll explain in the chat.
There was a bug in Breath of Fire that said "damn." Breath of Fire 2
Damn.
blew my mind.
Mega Man said "damn" in Mega Man X.
Anyway.
So yeah.
Whoa.
He's from Pokemon. He's from Pokemon, the trading card game.
Oh, okay.
There you go. I just remember I worked at a game store in college, and we always had like many copies. That's actually the thing that weirds me out more than anything now is that all of the old Pokemon games are like super expensive, and like apparently people just like bootleg the shit out of them. Like if you're buying a Pokemon game, like people are recommending like make sure you open that shit up with a game bit screwdriver to make sure you're not getting fucked over because like apparently
They're hard to
like
get.
Pokemon games are all the rate. Yeah, like the older one, like the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance ones, are like $40 to $50 for just a cartridge now, which is like
Pieces of this guy are disappearing, so I think I'm doing the right thing.
You are doing the right thing.
He's also crying at me, which is really.
He's like a proto Binding of Isaac. That's what Isaac grows up.
Yeah, Isaac's weapons are called tears. Any tier-up weapons are very important. Man, I'm either really good at this game or this game is pretty easy.
It ramps up later, but like it's not super difficult.
I mean, not easy, but it's doable. The one thing I will say though is that it's super weird to play as a character in a side-scrolling shooter where the character is oriented in a vertical fashion instead of a horizontal fashion. So, like, imagine playing Gradius, but the ship points up instead of sideways. It makes it a lot more difficult to dodge projectiles and enemies and get through things.
Right, because he's tall and his box is kind of wonky. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Space Egypt!
Yeah. Yep, Space Egypt. And then you go to Space Ancient Greece later, too. I don't know if you'll make it that far before we...
Probably not.
But
we should look and see. I forgot to check for codes.
I don't remember if there are any for this.
Yeah, this fire is really good, by the way.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's check the old game facts.
Extra life, max health up, revive. The Belkin cannon. Is that like from Belky from Perfect? Belky from Perfect Strangers developed that weapon.
Yes, certainly not a translation. Unlimited continues.
Bound shots, bullets bound off the wall.
They do.
No,
that's a decent weapon too.
I bought
the game to slow down really badly though.
Okay.
I guess you're playing on an emulator, so maybe that's not a thing. Play in a 2-player game and press the start button to come back to life. That's not even a cheat. Like what the fuck? Corey Wilkie, your submitted cheat on game FAQs is lame.
That's right. So, fuck you, Corey Wilkie.
Yeah. So yeah, but I like this game.
I like this game too. I don't want to spoil anything for the end of the show.
But you're having a much easier time than you had the last episode
with
of this.
Thunder Force?
Ago.
With Shinobi. Yeah, I mean, I beat the first 2 stages in Shinobi pretty easily. The problem was, and so, I almost made a video about it, because Mike was giving me a hard time, because I like Castlevania, but I was giving Shinobi shit, because when you take hits, they push you right into pits, which is definitely a Castlevania trope. But the reason I was having so much trouble with Shinobi is that the jumps are all blind.
Right.
Like in Castlevania, you can always see where you're trying to get, because the sprites are really small in the environments. Like you never have there are occasional times in Castlevania, like with the pendulum jumps, where you're kind of jumping blind. But for the most part, like your character is right in the middle of the screen, and he's pretty small, and it's really easy to see where you're trying to get to. And in Shinobi, a lot of those jumps were just blind jumps that you kind of have to. It's difficult. You almost have to fail it once and learn where you're trying to get to, and then do it.
Yeah, it's a very trial by. There's some of those stages have a trial by error vibe. But I will say that we got. So we do the show live and then we post it on YouTube when we're done. And we got, I think, the most comments out of any of the episodes of this show that we've done on that one. Shinobi? And it was a shitload of people saying, no, play Shinobi 3. Like, you'll have it easier.
Okay. Like, there's potential. There's a lot of stuff I liked about that game, but yeah, like, blind jumps are kind of bullshit. Regardless of, game type or whatever. Like, it's just...
So, but, I mean, are they more or less bullshit than being attacked by, like, sentient anal beads?
They're trying to fly right up my butthole. Man, I just beat 3 stages of this.
You're on fire.
I'm ripping, yeah. Darn, no date with Cleopatra. Darn, no date with Cleopatra.
Hambone179 says, I wonder how many games Corey Wilkie posted that same cheat on.
Every arcade game ever made. Put a quarter in to continue. My favorite cheat.
Oh, man. So, yeah,
Is there any other interesting trivia about this? It seemed like I looked up. So when I checked it out on Wikipedia, it seemed like several of the major designers for this were like people that worked on Street Fighter 2 and like a variety of other classic.
Yeah, I think Capcom
games,
was still like a pretty small operation at this time. So I mean. And they had an arcade division and a home division, and I think their arcade division was not a ton of people. So I suspect it probably shares a lot of DNA with other.
The armor, I don't have enough to upgrade my weapons, but I think it's more important just to keep my health good. Like I feel like this fire thing is pretty good.
Yeah, let's see here. Yasuda, Nishitani, Funamizu, and Okamoto all worked on this, and I recognize most of those names.
Ah! Uh-oh. I don't know how to... See. Did I just pick wrong? Do I just die here, or what? No.
I don't think so.
Oh, I guess I could go this way? It looked like this looked like a trap.
If you destroy if you whichever one of those you destroy, like sets you on
a different path.
Like, so if you go the upper path or the lower path.
It looked like I was fucked, but this is just like a different weird wallpaper instead of a.
Right. So Yasuda was under the pseudonym Akiman, if that rings a bell for anybody.
The game is throwing weird stone foots at me.
He did the art and planning for a lot of games.
and rock penises. I just fought sentient anal beads, and now there's big rocky dicks flying at me from the walls.
There you go.
Is this secretly a... Oh, what the hell's the... What's the shooter with the gay dudes?
Oh, Choaniki.
Yeah.
Secret entry in the Choaniki franchise. So this guy, one of these guys worked on this and Final Fight, Street Fighter 2, Captain Commando, Punisher, Darkstalkers, X-Men, Star Gladiator. Pretty much a lot. He did character designs for a ton of Power Stone, Street Fighter 3, all kinds of stuff. Apparently, he did some work on Red Dead Revolver. That looks like a citation needed. Where I'm coming from. That seems weird, but
game over. Whoa, that guy's is that guy's like dick like flying out of his pants? What's happening there? Anyway.
Yeah, I think that's supposed to be a knee pad, but it does kind of look like a giant dick.
Okay, so there is no continue. Must be that's one of the cheats. You said there was unlimited continues. I didn't get the opportunity to
playing as 2 players.
Yeah.
There's 2 players and you can keep continuing.
So no lives, no continues.
No.
This is
Mizu worked on a bunch of stuff, similar stuff to like all 4 of the guys who worked on this game. Seems like they worked on a lot of stuff. One of them is still there working on. No wait, one of them is the guy who created Game Republic. Started at Konami, went to Capcom, created Game Republic, did Genji, Dawn of the Samurai, which has a giant enemy crab that you can flip on its back and stab down for massive damage. He also worked on that game Folklore that came out in 2007. And then the 4th guy works for Eureka, which is the company that does Street Fighter EX stuff.
That's
at least a couple of these guys worked on like very notable Capcom stuff. So, you started. I thought we were wrapping up since we got a game over, but you're.
Yeah, I mean, usually I go a half an hour, but I can stop, I guess.
Oh no,
it's fun. I kind of like this game.
Yeah, I dig this game.
Especially with the auto fire on, where you can really concentrate on using the thing more as a shield and dodging. It sort of helps alleviate the situation of your dude being vertical and it being weird to navigate things, or just more difficult since he just takes up more space that way.
Right. I actually watched someone broke down that like in the Genesis version of Ghouls and Ghosts, Arthur's hitbox is way bigger than in the PC Engine and arcade versions.
That's what you really need in that game, is bigger hitboxes.
Yeah, it's a bigger hitbox. Which actually, I mean, that's the version that's like kind of my preferred version. Like I spend more time with that one than any of the other versions. But yeah, apparently, like they frame by frame it, and he dies way sooner, like when stuff gets, less close to him than he does in the other versions.
This fungus is not very
PC Engine,
smart.
No, it's not. Don't trust this fungus. It's not the PC Engine. It's the Super Graphics version of Ghouls.
You just cannot stop me with a paramecium. The bacteria and fungus aren't the same thing. I don't know. I guess maybe that was supposed to be a giant bacteria. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know. How would it infect you if it was too big to like fit in your bloodstream or whatever?
There are they found in water, like certain water supplies, like super viruses that are like viruses that are close to the size of bacteria. In some cases bigger than bacteria, which is weird because viruses are just little packets of DNA, and some of those viruses have like I forget but like dozens of pieces of DNA, which is way more than most modern viruses or like ancient viruses. Which I thought that was pretty cool.
That's kind of terrifying.
yeah, I guess you can look at it that way.
Yeah.
Health up, this up, buy another life, I guess. But yeah, I guess we're coming up on a half an hour, so I can shut this down. This game's pretty dope. I'm having a lot more fun with this than Shinobi, and I don't know if it's better than Thunder Force 3, but it's certainly easier than Thunder Force 3, or at least until I got to that space Egypt boat thing, which kind of wrecked my shit. But yeah, I like the upgrade system. I like that. Like you can sort of pick your character kit, but you don't lose everything like you do in Gradius.
Right.
Although the fact that you have basically one life unless you buy extra lives and you have no continues is kind of shitty. But
yeah, I think it's just that you have to make sure that you're always spending on extra lives.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, they're not prohibitively expensive, and you can get one just about every stage. But yeah, I like this game. This is really good. This game, Genesis, is really cool. Definitely, maybe the second best Genesis game of all time, just behind Rocket Knight. We'll say for now. Yeah, just ahead of Aladdin, just behind Rocket Knight. Or I don't know. I might like this more than Rocket Knight. I don't know. This game is really cool.
I feel like I may have done you a disservice by starting you with Rocket Knight.
With Rocket Knight? Well, I mean, I've played Rocket Knight games before, but they just aren't. Other Rocket Knight games aren't as good as that one. Like that one is much better than the re-release on the PC. And it's oop, I got burned. All right, we'll call it here. We'll let the Dust Dragon get the best of us this time. I don't know. He's got some weird kind of bones poking out of him. Is this like a proto gaping dragon?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna fly into this great gaping dragon's bone vagina, and we'll call it a night. But yeah, Forgotten Worlds is super fucking cool. I'm sad that there's no Super Nintendo version, but there are versions for the ZX Spectrum and arcade, Sega Genesis, some other weird European PCs maybe.
Yeah, definitely all of the weird European PCs.
But yeah, I don't know. That game's pretty cool. I like it. So, Genesis is good, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.